Live from Sacramento, California, home of the 1988 cribbage champions, the California Land Grabbers, claim jumpers, or other such team. I don't know if they ever did that. Anyway, welcome again. It's Monday and another reading of. I just found this among the things I'm unpacking, or Constance is unpacking mostly. Uh, she's right outside the window here. So, anyway, we are at the Wake World. I think this is our part 8 of the installments. We're almost through. Layla, excuse me, I keep calling her Layla. Lola Daydream is now way up with all of the dynamics of having crossed the abyss and now dealing with the exalted state of consciousness of the supernal triad 1, 2, and 3, and the paths that lead up to it. And remember, this is that novelty flavor straw. So in order for number 1 to suck it all up the tree, many things happen simultaneously. We go from 5 to 3, and we go from 6 to 3, and we go from 6 to 1, and we go from 6 to 2, and we go from 4 to 2, and we go to 1 to 3 and 1 to 2. That's a lot of heavy, high sucking going on. Anyway, here we are. Part 4. I'll tell you about the chariot race. Okay, and there's the chariot race right here. And if you have your own tree of life, it'll be easier to follow along. Now I shall tell you about the chariot race in the first passage. The chariot is all carved out of pure, clear amber, so that electric sparks fly about as the furs rub it. The whole cushions and rugs are all beautiful, soft ermine fur. There is like a canopy of bright blue with stars, like the sky in the dream world. And the chariot is drawn by 2 sphinxes. One black and one white. The charioteer is a most curious person. He's a great big crab. In the most glittering armor, and he can just drive. His name is the mysterious name I told you about with the 11 letters, but we call him Yehu for short. That's Jehu for short, because he's only 19 years old. It's important to know, though, because this journey is the most difficult of all, and without the chariot one could never do it, because it is so far much farther than heaven is from the dream world. Now, the passage where the twins lead, okay, that goes from 6 to 3, Gemini, Zion. The passage where the twins live is very difficult too. They are 2 sisters, and one is very pure and good, and the other is a horrid, fast woman. But that shows you how silly the dream language is. Really, there's another way to put it. You can say there are 2 sisters. One is very silly and ignorant, and the other has learned how to know and enjoy. Now, when one is a princess, she's talking about herself, it is very important to have good manners. So you have to go into the passage and take 1 on each arm and go through them singing and dancing. And if you hurt the feelings of either of them the least little bit in the world, it would show that you were not really a great lady, only a dress lady. And there is a man with a bow and arrow in the air, and he would soon finish you off. And you would never get to the third house at all. But the really serious difficulty is the outdoors. You have to leave the house of love, as they called the fourth house. You are quite naked. You must take off your husband clothes and your baby clothes and all your pleasure clothes and your skin and your flesh and your bones. Every one of them must come right off. And then you must take off your feeling clothes, then your idea clothes, then what we call your tendency clothes, which you've always worn and which make you what you are. After that, you take off your consciousness clothes, which you've always thought were your very own self. And you leap out into the cold abyss, and you can't think how lonely it is. There isn't any light or any path or anything to catch hold of to help you, and there is no fairy prince anymore. You can't even hear his voice calling you to come on. There's nothing to tell you which way to go, and you feel the most horrible sensation of falling away from everything that ever was. You've got nothing at all. You don't know how awful it is. You would turn back if you could only stop falling, but luckily you can't. So you fall and fall faster and faster, and I can't tell you anymore. The third house is called the House of Sorrow. They gave me new clothes of the queerest kind because one never thinks of them as one's clothes, but only as clothes. There's a pool of black, solemn water in the shining obsidian, and is like one vast veiled figure of wonderful beauty brooding over the sea. And by, the pains come upon one. I can't tell you anything about the pains. Only they're different from any other pains, because they start from inside you, from a deeper, truer kind of you than you ever knew. By and by you see a tremendous blaze of a new sun in the sixth house. And you are glad, and there are millions of trumpets blown and voices crying, "Hail to the fairy prince," meaning a new one that you have had for your baby. And at that moment, you find you are living in the first three houses all at once. For you feel the delight of your own dear prince and his love, and the old king stirs in his silence in the first house, and thousands of millions of blessings shoot out like rays of light, and everything is all harmony and beauty below, and crowned above with a crown of 12 stars, which is the only way you can put it in dream talk. Now you see you don't need to struggle to go on anymore, because you know already that all the house is your one palace. And you move about in your own wake world just as necessary. All the paths up to the second house are open. The path of the Hierophant. See, that Hierophant will go from number 4 to, let's see. Number 4 to number 3. The path of the Hierophant with the flaming star, and the incense in the vast cathedral, and the path of the mighty ruler. Now, this was before the Tzadi Hayes switch in Crowley's career. So the mighty ruler goes from 6 to 2. Let's see. The mighty ruler who governs everything with his orb and his crown and his scepter. And there is the path of the Queen of Love. Okay, that goes from 3 to 2. That's Hokmah, the Empress. Let's see, the Queen of Love, which is more beautiful than anything. And along it, my own dear lover passes to my bridal chamber. And there are 3 ways to the house of the Holy King. House of the Old King. See, from 6 directly up, and from 2 to 1, and from 1 to 2. And let's see. The way by which he is joined with the new fairy prince, where he dwells in a where dwells a moon-like virgin, the high priestess, with an open book, and always reads beautiful words therein, smiling mysteriously through her shining veil, woven of sweet thoughts and pure kisses. And there's the way which I always go to the king, my father. Now remember, she's in number 3. So from 3 to 1 is the path of the magician. And that passage is built of thunder and lightning, but there's a holy magician named Hermes who takes me through so quickly that I arrive sometimes at the very moment I start. Last is the most mysterious passage of all. It goes from 2 to 1. And if any of you saw it, you would think there was a foolish man in it, being bitten by crocodiles and dogs, and carrying a sack with nothing of any use in it at all. But really, it is a man who meant to wake up, and did wake up. So that is his house. He is the old king himself, and so are you. So he wouldn't care what anyone thought he was. Really, all the passages to the first 3 houses are very useful. All in the dream world and all in the dream world and the half dream world and the wake world are governed from those 3 passages. I began to see now how very unreal even the wake world is, because there's just a little dream in it, and the right world is the wide wake world. My lover calls me Little Lola wide awake, not Lola daydream anymore. But it is always Lola, because I am the key to the delights. I never told you about the first two houses, and really you wouldn't understand. But the second house is gray because the light and dark flash by so quickly it's all blended into one. And in it lives my lover, and that's all I care about. The first house is so brilliant that you can't think, and there too is my lover and I when we are one. You wouldn't understand that either. And the last thing I shall say is that one begins to see that there isn't really quite a wide, wide, wide wake world till the serpent outside has finished eating up its tail. And I don't really and truly understand that myself. But it doesn't matter. What you must all do first is to find the fairy prince, to come and ride away with you. So don't bother about the serpent yet. That's all. And that is the end of The Wake World by Aleister Crowley. It's found in Conks on Pox. Now I have a great announcement, or exciting for me. I have scheduled the live Zoom workshop on Wednesday, August 25th at 6 p.m. It's a little earlier in the evening, 6 p.m. On Thursday the 25th, for the importance of the magical invocation. If you are a ceremonial magician or study ceremonial magic, or are interested in ceremonial magic, even on an introductory level, the invocation is the most important component, most important factor in the equation that is any magical or divinatory process. So I strongly urge you to register, please, as soon as possible. I've put the link on my page here, and if you have trouble finding that link, I'm going to repeatedly keep posting it on my Facebook page. And I'm really excited about it. I've worked really hard throughout this entire ordeal, and I truly want to share it with you. So, magical invocation, please register now. The links will be provided right here on my Facebook page. So until tomorrow, when we'll start something else, I've unpacked a bunch of fun things. I've got a selection of things we can discuss and read. Anyway, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do without will shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.